Hi friends! Happy New Year! It is officially 2021 when you are seeing this. Last BookMas day that you guys saw, I wrapped up my year with the goals that I hope to accomplish in 2020. And we kind of talked through those, but as always, I am a person with many lists, many organizational systems. So I have made a bunch of goals for 2021 and I want to kind of chat through them. It's just fun for me to kind of keep them in one place and kind of go through them. And I did make some big changes this year, so I wanted to kind of chat through them and what I hope to accomplish this year. So let's get into it. The first goal I want to just chat through is my Goodreads goal. Last year, I was able to read over 200 books, which blew my mind. However, I'm not going in all guns blazing because I don't think I will be able to do that again. I can, of course, it always is to read that many books, but my normal goal is to read 100 books, and I always break that. So, like, my real goal is more like 170, but I just put down 100, so I know I will definitely beat that because I always do. And then this year I just wound up reading a lot because of COVID and quarantine. So, but 100 books is my Goodreads goal that I always start with. But I would love to get closer to 200, and we'll see if that actually happens. I always do stat goals, and these, if I don't make them, I don't make them, but I always try. I like to keep my platforms growing and getting more views and getting more engagement with the audience, you guys. So, right now I hope to get to 300 on my blog. Right now I think I'm at 250. So 50 subscribers is perfectly doable. On Instagram, I would love to be over 1,000 by next year. I think that that's very, very doable because right now I'm at about a little bit over 700. And YouTube, I really want to get to 400 or 450, but 400 is probably the easier goal. So that's what I'm going to shoot for. So those are my number goals. Again, I like numbers because you could easily assess if you did it or if you didn't. And that's really the biggest change that I made this year. I made my goals number based. So I can assess like, okay, I definitely did that, because if I just say, oh, read 50% of something, it doesn't really make any sense to me. So number goals is what you're going to notice changed a lot in the subsequent goals, and we'll kind of chat through that a little bit because I can assess that a little bit easier. My first official goal is a goal that I was successful in 2020, and that is read at least 3 different genres every single month. Now, that can both mean like different books in the YA genre or different books in general, like a YA, a middle grade, or an adult. That is kind of what I'm shooting for, to read like at least one adult book every month, at least one middle grade every month, and, probably like a graphic novel or something. But it may also just be like I read some fantasy, some sci-fi, some contemporary. Because prior to 2020, I was very much a very, very seasonal reader, and I would read like all my contemporaries in the summer and all my fantasies in the winter and all of my thrillers in October and fall. And I realized that I would really just crave those books more throughout the year, and I was really limiting myself. So now I'm just sort of allowing myself to kind of read what I want and be a little bit more like well-rounded and not so much a seasonal reader. I still am a seasonal reader. I will still likely read contemporaries in the summer and, thrillers during the holidays, but during like Halloween and such, but I'm just trying to allow myself to read 3 different genres every single month. And, just not, I notice when I read a lot of like contemporaries back to back, I get burned out. So I'm just trying to like make sure that that doesn't happen so I don't fall into reading slumps and read less. And then the next book is definitely one that is mostly due to the pandemic, because all of our book conventions got canceled, and the conventions that I have been to, like ALA, New York City Comic-Con, BEA, they were all online. So we got a lot of ARCs from NetGalley, and I am really, really bad at reading on my Kindle. I just am, because I feel like I have so many physical books, and those tend to be the focus. But the problem with this year is that I don't have any new books to read because I don't have any physical books, really. I mean, I got a couple, but not anything like I got if I went to New York City Comic-Con or something like that. So my goal is this year to have read at least 20 arcs as at a bare minimum. I hope to actually bump that up to like more, but read 20 e-arcs is a solid goal that I hope to be able to complete this year, just to make some headway on my NetGalley, because my numbers are atrocious on NetGalley. horrible. So I want to be able to make sure that my percentage goes up quite a bit. And I think reading 20 arcs will definitely help that number a bit. So that's my second goal. The next goal that I have is also to listen to 24 audiobooks this year, and I was able to listen to 30 this year. So I think that that's definitely doable. I'm sure I could do that. So basically, listen to like 2 to 3 a month, and I'm sure I could do that. I see no problems, but definitely right now, because I'm not commuting to work, I've been finding less times to listen to audiobooks, which has lessened my numbers quite a bit. Just because I haven't been commuting back and forth. I'm hopeful that maybe we'll go back in the next couple of weeks, but they're really unsure. But I do think that I can definitely listen to 24 audiobooks this year. So, and I really do like my Audible account. I'm a subscriber. I use my library. I use Hoopla. I've also been trying to use Libro FM, which supports indie bookshops a little bit more, especially when they have, deals that I try to get. So I think 24 audiobooks is a good goal and a good solid number goal as well. So hopefully I'm able to do that. This goal is going to be a little bit hard to explain, but I'm going to show you guys what my list looked like last year, and I'm going to show you guys why this doesn't work for me. So and I'm also going to be much better at using my planner, which I actually was pretty good at last year, not the best. But this is what I did last year. I just had all of my lists all here, and this is so overwhelming to me. Like, I just have no idea where to start, and it is very, very overwhelming just in general. It's just super overwhelming. It's not a good system because it makes me super overwhelmed. So instead of doing that and completely adjusting myself out and not even wanting to look at that page, I am going to give myself I'm going to have like a couple of lists. I'm going to have a sequel list. I'm going to have my top 10 reads of the year. I'm going to have a couple of other lists that I'm going to have in this planner. And I'm just going to make it shorter. So I'm just going to put 5 books on that list. And once I complete those 5 books, I will add 5 more books or whatever I have to do. So it breaks it a little bit down, but it also makes it more manageable and less scary. So I'll probably just have like 1 page of all of them, and then I'll just probably go back. So I'll probably have like 1 list here or 1 list here. I'll probably start with like 4 lists, and that's it. And I'm just gonna look at that page and just start checking stuff off because I think it's a little bit easier and less momentous. And then every single time I complete those lists or DNF or decide I'm not gonna read them, I'll kind of check in with you guys about it, and you guys will see that first list breakdown towards the end of BookMas, because that'll probably be one of my last videos that I do once I finished 2020 and realize what I have read, what I haven't read, and what I want to read in 2021. But I just think it will be a little bit less overwhelming for me and more things to like specifically focus on. What I have noticed this year is I love my to-do list. I love checking things off my to-do list. I love making sure that things are thing, but short goals definitely help me a little bit more than the overwhelming goals. But I am definitely going to use my reading planner and my Always Booked planner. This one's going to be more YouTube related and blog related, and this is going to be more personal, but they do have some competing elements to both of them. So definitely I try to be less overwhelmed with my planning lists, but still use them and try to use them in a more effective way so I'm a little bit more organized. So that's the end of that goal. I'm sorry if that didn't make any sense. When I do my video about it, you guys will understand what I'm talking about. But that's a change I am making in general for my lists for 2021. This is a goal that I totally failed at in 2020. I really wanted to read more sequels, and I definitely didn't do that. And I think it's just something I just have to just do, stop talking about, and just do it. So I made a list to read at least 10 sequels, third books in a series, or a complete series. And I made another goal later that you guys will see, but I really get so angry at myself because I love these characters, I love these worlds, and then I just never follow up and read the third or the fourth book or the final book in the series. And it just gets frustrating for myself because I was so invested in these books, said I so wanted to read them, and then I don't ever read them. So I'm really making it a goal, not only for sequels, but also series that I want to catch up on, just to make that a priority. So I said 10. I would love to read more, but again, I feel like a 10, I feel like reading 10 sequels this year is definitely a good starting point. So that's where I'm starting with that goal. The next goal is one that's definitely a little bit easier, but this is unhaul or find new homes for 100 books. And considering I read a lot and I also do unhauls throughout the year, especially right before I go to cons, I really think this is doable. I definitely unhauled about 100 books this year in some various capacities. Even through in the middle of a pandemic, I still was able to donate books at points, and I continually do that. Normally I do give them to my students, but until I can do that again, I've been donating them to like thrift bookshops and like Goodwill and stuff like that, and giving them to my uncle, and he donates them to his school. So I do get rid of them because I don't need them. I tend to only keep my favorite books that I think I'm gonna reread again, or I need for a picture or something that I'm gonna do on Bookstagram. So I keep few books, especially if books are signed and stuff like that. But I try to find them new homes when I can and pass them on to other people that will love reading them. I am going to be making top 10 reads of the year list, top 10 reads coming out in 2020 that I want to read, and a top 10 backlist books that I want to read. And my only goal is to complete those 20 books by the end of the year. And I'm going to really think when I make these lists, what are the books I'm most likely to read, and really make them dedicated to that. And I'm also probably going to make like a top 10 sequel list to read. So I'm really going to be diligent in when I'm making this list and alter it if needed. So I make those decisions throughout the year. But I definitely want to be able to complete my top 10 sequel list, my top 10 backlist books, and my top books coming out in 2021 that I do want to complete. And I will definitely be keeping you guys up to date on that list throughout the year, as I talked about in my previous goal. This is a goal that I've never made before, but because I'm trying to catch up on some authors, I decided to pick my top 5 authors that I want to read more or just read some books by this year. So the authors that I chose right now that I'm going to focus on is Cinda Williams Chima, who has 2 series I have still not read. The Shattered Realm series is one, and the previous series before that. Tamara Pierce, the Circle Open series, I want to be able to complete that and read her newer series that she wrote a couple of years ago. Jeff Wheeler is a fascinating adult fantasy novelist that I really want to read more on. And Robin Hobbs, who I've heard incredible things about, did not adore The Assassin's Apprentice, but I'm willing to give her other books in the series some more weight. So those are the couple of authors that I'm really going to devote some time to this year and see if I could complete their reads, complete their backlist, and try to see how I feel about them, especially because I am trying to diversify my reading habits in 2021. Now, because of the cons being shut down and me not going to a con in about a year, I am making it a goal to read 50 of my ARCs, my physical ARCs in my collection from BEA, the last time I went to BEA, the last time I went to ALA, and the last time I went to New York City Comic Con, in hopes that I can finally make some space. Because I have I'll see if I could turn around my computer and show you guys. This collection is all of my ARCs that I have from various conventions over the past couple of years. I hope you guys saw that. So that's my goal. I am going to try my hardest. Some of those are not obviously ARCs, but books in that collection in that section are. So I'm just going to try to make sure that I read about 50 ARCs from some of those conventions, may it be a couple of them. So whenever we're physically allowed to go back to conventions, I have space. So 50 books I think is definitely doable. And I think it will be nice to kind of clean some more books out. So that's why I'm making that goal. You're going to see what video eventually in this series at some point talking about the series I want to complete this year, and this goal kind of goes along with that. I want to complete 5 series this year. May that be I finish them, may that be I have a couple of books I haven't read, may that be I start it and completely finish it. There are quite a few in that video that I will chat about, but I'm going to hopefully finish at least 5 of those, and I'll be able to mark those off. There's like a couple of series, like To All the Boys I Loved Before and the Potion series. I only have like 1 or 2 books left, but I would still call that finishing a series. So again, at least finish 5 series this year. Hopefully like start to end finish 5 series, but it may also complete just like completing them as well. So that is a goal that I am so bad at That is why I made reading sequels one goal and completing a series another goal, because I really want to make it that my goal for 2021 to finish series, catch up, and finish these character stories that I really have enjoyed. I will admit, out of all of the goals I just told you, this goal right here is probably going to be the most challenging for me. This goal is to read 20 books on my Kindle that are not e-arcs and not library books. That's hard because I tend to forget about my Kindle books just because I get them as daily deals and then I totally forget about them. So I'm going to have to make like a 5-book list of all of my Kindle reads I want to tackle and just go through my Kindle, because it's not even e-arcs. It's just stuff that I've had for years and years and years and never got around to reading. But again, I have these books, I've had them for decades, or not decades, but like years, and I just never read them. So I'm going to make that a goal to kind of go through my Kindle, pick maybe like 5 Regency romances, which I did a big buy in the middle of the year, or during quarantine I did that, and then maybe pick like 5 other ones and kind of start there and see how I can get along with it. But again, it's a goal that I do want to make some better at, because I have the books. I just don't physically see them every single day, so I figure if I put it in my planner and I put it on that page, they'll get read if I'm reminded about it enough. So this goal mostly came around due to quarantine when I started filming my favorite videos. Those are things that I would always do, but I think because I started doing that, I really started becoming more mindful of what I'm listening and what I'm reading and what I'm watching, what movies I'm watching. And I am someone who tends to put things off a lot. I will put off movies I want to watch for years. I'll put off TV shows that I want to watch for years. So I'm going to make a TV show list to binge this year, and a movie binging list that I want to watch, and I'm going to try to make that a goal. So I'm going to really tackle that during break and kind of decide what it is, but I want to finish those 2 lists. In addition, that I want to rewatch all the Marvel movies eventually. I want to watch all the Pixar movies. Those are like smaller challenges that I have, but again, I want to kind of make this channel a little bit more about my life and my fandom stuff that I like and enjoy. Try to have more discussions with you guys about stuff, so I'm going to try to include that a little bit more. But I definitely do like doing my monthly favorite videos, and that will definitely become a video I do every single month. And maybe I'll do some reading vlogs where I'm watching like a specific series, and maybe I'll tie the books to that. Let me know if you have any ideas for comments for reading vlogs like that, and I'll be sure to add them to my filming queue, which I'm going to start making over break. So give me some ideas, but I do like doing themed reading vlogs, and that's probably what you're going to see in 2021, a lot of themed reading vlogs, just because it motivates me a little bit to read in a certain genre, and I feel like the vlog is a little bit more concise, and they all kind of go together, and then I can move on to a different topic the next week. So stay tuned for that, but definitely keeping you guys up to date more on my fandom life outside of reading, and also holding myself accountable to actually watch things that I really want to, and not waiting, because that's when I get in trouble and I haven't seen Vampire Diaries or any episodes of Supernatural, because I keep putting things off. So I want you guys to hold me accountable when I show you guys those lists and make sure I actually do it. This is another goal that I had last year that I really liked, or well, this year that I'm currently in the middle of, but for 2020, was to read 20 books that are not YA, and I was able to do that super successfully, so I'm hopeful to do that again this year, and it's just to read more diversely, and it kind of ties in with my next goal, which is a little bit more non-fiction-y related, but it's just like I love YA, and I think YA is always going to be my favorite genre, always, because that's just what I've grown accustomed to reading. But I do like to challenge myself. There's so many series that people love, and I just haven't got around to reading them quite yet. But honestly, it's definitely a point of contention that I just want to kind of break myself out of my reading habits a little bit and kind of challenge myself for that. And then the next goal has definitely come around in the last year. I'll be very honest, the last couple of years, especially since 2016, when I've kind of become more aware of the world, I'll say that. But I want to read 6 nonfiction books this year at least. And the way I'm breaking this down, I want to read 3 political themed memoirs about just, race relations in America or stuff like that, or about politics, stuff that really expands my comfort zone and kind of gives me more information about topics that I'm interested in. I've become very interested in political stuff. Obviously, recently, I think we all have due to everything that's been happening in the world, but I also want to read like 3 books about productivity or just topics that are interesting or about arts and being creative. And I really want to not force myself, I really want to let myself read that. I am a lifelong learner. I love learning. I have 3 college degrees and I miss that sometimes. I miss going to school for myself and learning new material. So I'm going to try to allow myself to kind of read more of that. And I think that's definitely when I'm able to commute again and I'm able to go back and forth. I think that's going to be definitely something that I'm going to be doing. So read at least 6 nonfiction books this year is definitely a goal. So let me know what are some of your goals for 2021. These are some of my like bookish themes goals. If you guys want to see my personal goals, comment below. I'm pretty open on this channel. But yeah, so I hope you guys like my goals. I hope you guys are having an amazing 2021. I hope it's everything we hope it's be, and we'll get there, guys. I promise we'll get there. But thank you guys for following me. Thank you guys for subscribing to my channel, and I'll talk to you guys for my next BookMas video tomorrow. Bye, guys.